Alright, so hello. I want to make this video as quick to the point as possible, so I'm not going to do too much of an introduction, but basically in January of 2024, I get hit 235 for one on bench, weighing around 170 pounds. As you can see, the rep is super rough and the form is horrendous. Around the same time, I hit 205 for 3, which is pretty bad form. But if you fast forward to November 2025, I hit 335 for 1 on bench, weighing at about a 220, and obviously the form is much more improved. So in under 2 years, I was able to gain 50 pounds in body weight and 100 pounds in bench press weight. I also set the official intramural record at my college with a 330 pounds paused bench press, and I was able to hit 225 for 16. Now with all that out of the way, I wanted to go ahead and just list off how I accomplished this, and to help and encourage everybody to reach their goals and get strong as well. I'm going to divide the video into parts, the first part being the workouts, the second part being the nutritional aspect, the third part being the equipment, and then the fourth part is just pretty much the conclusion of the video. So the workouts themselves remain the same pretty much throughout the entirety of improving strength on bench pressing. Specifically, I put emphasis on the triceps and the chest, which are two most fundamental parts of bench pressing. I really focused on the 4 main compound lifts throughout my workout week, which is squats, deadlifts, overhead press, and then obviously bench press. Regardless of what people online are going to tell you, every compound lift will make you stronger at every other compound lift. As my squat skyrocketed, so did my bench press. As the deadlift skyrocketed, so did the overhead press, and so on. With benching, I benched usually 3 times a week. I squatted once, overhead pressed twice, and deadlifted once. With all the compound lifting I was doing, it caused me to grow in strength pretty exponentially. So pretty much going back to focusing on the bench, every single workout was heavy bench pressing. I never had a low weight day or anything. It was heavy every single time. And the program I created for myself went like this: is 1 set of 5, then 2 sets of 3, 1 set of 2, and then multiple sets of 1 until I was maxed out. So for example, it could go 265 for 5, 280 for 3, 295 for 3, then 300 for 2, 315 for 1, 320 for 1, and then finally 325 for 1, and then the bench workout was concluded. I didn't rest, for a ridiculously long time like a lot of retards you'll see at the gym do. The quicker and more intense it is, the better for your body and your mind. After the bench press was done, the workout would then go into something called Dirty 30s. A lot of people don't know what those are, but it's something created by Westside Barbell, and specifically by the bench press powerlifting champion Jason Coker. They suck, they're painful, but they're extremely effective. How it works is you have an easy curl bar, and you're laying down, and it's just a multi superset. You have 10 reps of skull crushers, 10 reps of rolling tricep extensions, and then 10 reps of just pressing the bar, and that's 1 set. Now you do that twice more, and that concludes the Dirty 30s. And at that point, my arms are usually just like crippled, they're on fire. I would still attempt to do the 3 sets of 10 of dips. Sometimes I'd be able to get the full 30. Most of the time I'd fail, but it's not a huge deal as long as it's legitimate failure and not just giving up. Usually if I had it in me, I would try to make up, the reps after I failed. But most of the time I would not. So then that's the entirety of the bench press workout. Usually takes around 45 minutes to finish or so. With that, make sure you track everything as adamantly as possible to ensure you're actually improving, and that way you can look back and see all of your progress and everything. So nutrition. A lot of people focus way too much on this because they hear, all the influencers everywhere preach about it incessantly. If you're a bodybuilder and you do lift for vanity, then sure, you need to be cautious with it. But for strength training, it really is just as simple as focusing on protein and eating more calories than before, and that's it. I used to be 275 pounds. I played football as an offensive lineman. A few years later after that, I lost over 100 pounds. It's about 169 pounds. And then at that point, I was terrified to gain weight. So for a few years, I just, I was so in fear of becoming fat again. I just ate as little as possible. And that's why for such a long time, I never gained the strength I wanted. But eventually, in early 2024, early to mid 2024, I overcame that fear, and I pretty much ate anything that came in my way. With that, I gained about 50 pounds from 170 pounds to 220, and then I did get a little fat, but I got insanely strong. I don't regret a thing. So I'm a vegetarian, so my main protein and diet consists of eggs, usually 8 to 10 eggs a day. I ate a shit ton of peanut butter sandwiches, Quest and MedRx protein bars, drink a lot of lactate milk, and of course muscle milk protein shakes. I also use animal, the whey protein scoops. Those weren't, I didn't use those too much, but pretty much I'd say 3 or 4 days out of the week I'd use those as well, just for extra protein. But usually daily the calories were around 3,100 to 3,500. Carbs were about 150 to 160 grams. Protein's about 160 to 170 grams. And the fat's about 100 to 110 grams. And that was more than enough for me to make great progress in the gym. Just a side note, don't be a cheating retard and take steroids. Don't take the easy way out. Be a man and do, lift the way you should lift. Matter of fact, don't take any type of drugs. Don't drink. It's going to turn you into a mentally inept retard. It's going to deter you away from your goals. So just don't do it. As far as equipment for bench pressing goes, the brands and what you wear is dependent on how you feel. But I'll give you what I wore and what my recommendations are. So firstly, we'll talk about wrist wraps. So wrist wraps are pretty vital in my opinion for heavy bench pressing, especially if you're gaining strength so rapidly that your wrists are really starting to ache. I started out with Fit Griff wrist wraps, which were cheap from Amazon. I think they were like 11 bucks, and I just got them to kind of get used to wrist wraps. They were great for their price. I used them for I think it was like 6 months. At that point I moved on to Goblin Gear wrist wraps, and I've used them pretty much religiously ever since. I have like 3 or 4 pairs from Goblin Gear. They've never let me down. They're probably the most reliable wrist wraps on the market. I also tried out parallel breakers from Lifting Large, which also I recommend. They're great, but they are tough to get used to because they're really meant for like really heavy powerlifting, and the thumb loop on it's very firm, so if you really don't like using the thumb loop, it's hard to get off. But still great wrist wraps. And then elbow wraps is the next part. I use them a select number of times. I never understood the hype. I would limit the uses with them if I were you. It's more of an ego thing, The real support, in my opinion, is elbow sleeves. I use Iron Bolt elbow sleeves. They've helped my elbow joint issues greatly since I've gotten them. If you plan as benching as frequently as I do, 3 to 4 times, and with the stabilization they give you, it can add upwards of 5 to 10 pounds. But I wouldn't worry so much about that. It's mainly just a protective thing. I just want to give a word of encouragement to you watching. I know how tough it is right now in the gym. I know how tough it is to get stronger, how much mental and physical willpower it takes to get to where you want to be. I've been there. I've been weak. I've been insecure. I don't want to get too corny and emotional, but it took heavy strength training for me to truly find myself. It turns you into a better man. It improves, obviously your physical strength, but also your mental fortitude, and it greatly improves your self-perception and your self-love as well. And that's one of the most important things you could have for yourself. So if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Scream77541 for more tips. I will be starting up my own strength training business in the near future called Darkness Strength Training. It's already pretty much in the works, and I will be happy to help and coach anyone who is interested. So thank you for watching. Feel free to comment below if you're interested in me creating any more, strength training videos, weight loss videos, weight gain videos, anything like that. Just comment, and I will respond to everybody I can. So thank you.